I'm so triggered, said everyone all the time. These days, a difference in opinion or perspective can send some of us into a spiral of triggers. We have two very real choices: keep spiraling or deal with our triggers. True personal growth and the real transformation most of us are looking for lies in putting down our weapons and our walls to promote true healing and unity. Welcome to Triggered AF, the podcast, hosted by your girls, Alechia and Dani. Now, fair warning, we will disagree, have fun, talk-ish, and probably be inappropriate, all while owning our differences. But we're also going to do the very real work to transform into our best selves. Now let's dive in and deal with our triggers. And just like that, we're back. Hey. Now you may, if you are watching the video of this, you may have noticed a slight change.
Just a little change.
A little change.
A little change.
You know, for season 2, we decided to do things a little differently.
Yeah.
We wanted you to be able to see us and hop in and have conversations in the comments that we can reply to.
We wanted to bring you in a little closer.
Just a little closer.
You know, as we deal with our triggers.
Yes, we're getting triggered together much in a much more intimate
But
space.
now we're family.
Exactly.
You know,
we're family now.
Family. So we want to just take this journey even further, even deeper. And we want us to do it as intimately and as technologically advanced as possible. It is 2021. So we were like, you know what? Let's take this to the next level.
Why not?
And I just think that it's going to be better for all of us on the journey, right?
Absolutely.
When we can see each other. We even want to be able to maybe bring you guys on and have guests and just the whole thing, right?
Yes.
So welcome to season 2 of the Triggered AF podcast.
Yes. You already know with your hosts. I'm, of course, Alechia, and this is
Dani.
Yes, and so season 2, this first episode, we are going to let you hop in to a little bit more about who we are, what we do, why we started it, and even going to give just like a snippet, a snippet sneak peek into some of the tantalizing and triggering AF episodes for this season.
Yeah.
One such being men with mommy issues.
Yeah, we're going to do religion versus spirituality, where we're going to have a guest pastor come on and talk to us. I think we're going to do one on mixed chicks, not versus black chicks, but something like that. We're gonna do with colorism. We're gonna do with music in Black culture.
Yes,
there's just so much that we're gonna do, and it's not gonna be. Obviously, we did so much. We did 18 episodes for our first season.
18.
So you guys know that we get these episodes in.
Yes.
And we just want to make sure that we are talking about the things that you want us to talk about. So we're definitely gonna be doing a lot more engaging. We're gonna do another raise your hand episode where you guys can send us questions.
Yep.
So, I mean, we have it all laid out, and we're just super excited to continue this journey with you guys because it's been a blast.
It has absolutely been a blast. Yeah. So we said we were going to kind of take you more intimately into our world to just kind of like figure out why the hell Triggered AF the podcast. Why? Like, how did it happen? I don't even remember exactly.
I think I do.
Okay.
I think I do. You mean like how we came up with the name or how we started the podcast?
How we started the podcast.
We would always say for years that we wanted to start a podcast. Like we would have a conversation. We'd be like, we need to talk. Like everybody needs to hear this because this is a dope conversation. This is deep. Okay.
Listen,
so I feel like we would have those conversations for years and years and years.
Yep.
And we would always just feel like we were saying profound shit and that people needed to hear it.
Yeah.
The name, I think you came up with the name.
Oh,
we were going back and forth about like different names.
Mm-hmm.
And I think you came up with Triggered AF.
See, guys, what you're going to learn about me is I am one of the most forgetful people I know.
Yes, that's true.
Like,
you're one of the most forgetful people I know too.
It's a thing.
For sure.
It's not that I don't love you, or it's not that I don't, hold those things near and dear to my heart.
I think you just have a lot going on.
I think so too.
Yeah, let's blame it on that. Let's blame it on all she has. But yeah, you came up with the Triggered AF name. We've always talked about doing something with just kind of getting our conversations and our thoughts and ideas out. So that's how we kind of came up with it. I think we finally decided to pull the trigger. No pun intended. We decided to pull the trigger. I think we had both just gone through like some changes,
major ones,
some major changes. Yeah. And I think we were just like, you know what? It's time to just like do this for real and just go for it.
Yeah. And I feel like too, you have been on your healing journey, transforming in ways that I had never imagined because we've known each other since college.
That's what I never imagined.
I did. I never imagined.
Was I that bad, sis? Damn.
Okay, so because we also tell each other the truth,
she
was pretty bad. You know, she was pretty bad. I love you.
Alechia says I was a mean girl.
She was. She was a total mean girl. But not mean to me because we were friends. But you know,
I am a recovered mean girl. And I used to say recovering, but I'm pretty recovered.
Yeah, you're finished.
I'm done with that. I'm done with
finished.
That part of life. Yeah.
Yeah. No. Now your energy is one it's so welcoming and so loving. Like we were just talking about motherhood because Dani is a new mommy, and we were just talking about it. And you know, and is it okay if we dive into this just real quick?
Sure. Yeah. We know we're vulnerable here.
Yeah, we really are.
We keep it 100. So yeah.
I think this might be the trigger that I want to work on throughout this season.
What?
Children.
Children are your
They are my trigger.
A whole trigger. Children.
A whole trigger. So like we were talking about getting help. And of course, completely understand that everyone isn't in a position to have help. Whether you're paying for your help or whether it's family, everyone just simply isn't in a position, and that's okay. This isn't that episode where we're, you know, talking down or whatever about whether or not you can get help. But we were just discussing it, and she was just like, well, would you want help? And I'm like, that is the only way I am willing to bring more children into the world because mentally I can't do it.
And then I feel like before I had a baby, I felt like I was going to want all the help in the world. I was like, oh, I'm not having it because I have a nanny. And now having the baby, maybe the control freak in me is like, I don't want anybody near my baby, right? Like her dad is like, he gets like a fraction of the time that he probably would get if I wasn't a little bit of a maniac. So the idea of help was very attractive. And I think it'll become more attractive the older she gets. She's just like a month old.
Yeah. And I want them from at the hospital. Like I need a nanny to be already at the house. I need to have already interviewed sis.
I think for me, like down the road, when, you know, I think I'll be more comfortable with having help later. But right now, I don't want no help.
I would want all the help. I don't got it. I don't got it. It ain't in me. So
why do you say children are a trigger for you?
Because I think because bringing my daughter into the world was such a traumatic experience. I mean, from the time she was conceived and I realized that I was pregnant, with all of just the circumstances and situation like around having her and getting her here, and just it was just so filled with trauma that children, I think I have PTSD.
Oh wow, okay.
Because it was just so much and it was so heavy. And so for me, when I see kids, I see them as little baby Bills. Like you're just a beautiful little Bill.
They're like your broke best friend.
Yeah. Only, but you don't really, at least for me, I don't like babies. Yeah. It may seem like I like babies because I am the baby whisperer. I am so good with babies.
She's great with babies. Yeah.
But I prefer, like, give me a good old 4-year-old. Oh, we can rock out. I will take the kids.
I like them at all ages until they're teenagers. Once they hit 13, I'm done with them until they're like 21. Teenagers suck. Everyone agrees with that. Everyone knows that teenagers suck. Teenagers know that teenagers suck. Everyone knows. Everyone knows.
I don't think they so much as suck. They just have so many like competing emotions. It's like, do I do right?
The angst.
Or do I do what the fuck I want to do? Like, they just don't know which one they want to be.
Some of us needed to just skip that whole phase of life. Some of us just didn't know what to do. We could just skipped over that. I enjoyed my teenagers. My teenagers were awesome. Okay. I had a great teenage experience, which I know a lot of people don't, but I really enjoyed being a teenager.
Yeah.
But most teenagers suck.
Yeah, most of them do. I think I sucked as a teenager.
You were the sucky teenager.
I sucked as a teenager. Like, I was fighting teachers. I was fighting boys.
I used to fight a little.
I was fighting girls. Like, I was a terrible teenager. I was not, like, my mother was super religious, and I was like anti everything she had to say. Like, it wasn't really working out for me in my teenage years.
So we're going to talk about more of our triggers.
Yes.
I know one of my triggers we were talking about earlier. One of my triggers right now is just the media. Like, there's just like every time I turn on the news, I get like a notification on my cell phone of a news headline. Yeah. It is just not just triggering, but traumatizing at this point.
It's trauma.
Yeah. It's like,
beyond the trigger.
I don't know. Like, I have to like cleanse or something, like the next full moon. I don't know.
Yeah.
But that's been a major trigger. And I'm sure we can talk about that. And everyone could relate to that, just how triggering the news is and on any platform, not just like TV news, but just ingesting that information. There's just so much fear mongering, and I feel like it just makes you vibrate really low.
Yeah. And not even just fear mongering. Like, there are so many like just painful and traumatic things that are happening, especially, you know, to Black and brown folks, that it's just like, yo, I'm to the point where I want a Black son so bad, but I am terrified to have a Black boy.
Yeah. And then like when you really look into it, it's not even just the boys, it's like women too.
Yes.
And then like as a woman, you feel like you're like,
what do I do?
But you feel like those things don't happen to you, but they do, right?
Yeah.
So that for me has been a really big trigger that I've been trying to work through. I'm still working. So we talked about a lot of our triggers in the last season. So I'm still working on my fear of abundance. It's recently reared its ugly head. and I have been really working through it. It is such a struggle. And with my therapist, we're working just through trying to find. So the therapy that I do is like an energy-based therapy. It's not like your typical psychotherapy, lay on your couch, talk to a doctor. I work with, I just call her an energy therapist. I'm sure she has like a really technical name that I'm not giving her credit for, but pretty much there's like a school of thought that energy and trauma gets trapped in your body. So if something happens, so pretty much like your body has memories. Yeah, like every cell, every neuron, everything
I believe
is
that.
memory. It's not just your brain that has memory, right? So everything that happens to you, there's a book called, I have it over there, called The Body Keeps the Score. And
I have that book.
Right. So have you read it, or you just have it?
So
it's just a paperweight.
It's actually in my phone, so it's not too heavy.
So when you get a chance, it's really good, and it's pretty much talking about the memories that your body keeps, and it's also including your experiences. And we'll talk about it another time. But pretty much that's what my therapist does, and she helps like clear different energetic blocks and cords that might be. So anyways, we've been trying to figure out what the root cause of my fear of abundance is. And fear of abundance just meaning like when things are going really, really well for me, I always feel like something bad has to happen. Like I'm always kind of waiting. Yeah, I'm always kind of like waiting for the other shoe to drop. And I just have a hard time feeling like when too many good things are happening, I'm like, all right, what's going to go wrong? Who's going to fuck this up right now? How am I going to fuck this up right now? So I have a really hard time just kind of like accepting abundance, like accepting
goodness,
that things are good and that they're okay to be good, and that like something bad doesn't have to balance it. So that's my trigger and my work that I'm still doing to just kind of work through that so I can really just accept all the wonderful things that are happening in my life all the time and not feeling like there's some impending doom.
But you know what? I definitely want to have, maybe we can even interview your energy therapist.
Yeah, I'm sure she wouldn't mind. Sure.
I think we're definitely going to have to do that. Yeah. So guys, in advance, make sure you are either DMing us, adding some comments under this video if you are watching it on the platforms that allow video. If you are listening to us, that's okay too. We've got our DMs open. You can visit our website, triggeredafpodcast.com. I do believe that is it. If it's not, I'll put the real one in the comments and the links in the description in somewhere, but you'll get it, okay? That memory thing I told y'all.
We got to work on that. It's some food and stuff you can eat.
We're going to have to do something because this needs some ginkgo biloba, something.
We're going to get you right. Don't worry. We're going to get you right.
But one of the best things, or one of the, I guess, not triggers, but one of the initial reasons as to why I wanted to like, yo, for real, let's put pen to paper, words to audio recording, whatever it was, is just because you started and you went back to school to become a licensed life coach, right?
And health coach, yeah.
And health coach. Mm-hmm. And so, like I said, we were going through some major transitions in life. And so
I had just gotten out of a relationship and moved on my own.
Yeah, which was scary.
You were revamping but really revamping your businesses and just changing the whole structure of your life.
Whole life. Total
and
life.
then the pandemic
hit. Yes.
Yeah, so there's just a lot of changes. And and our Trigger Happy fam was also going through a lot of changes, I'm sure, with the pandemic. So we're all in this boat together. Exactly. It feels like it's sinking, but it's not.
It's not sinking. This is not the Titanic.
It feels like it.
Many of us do have life rafts. Let's move on. We're about to go to a deep, dark place. This is not good.
No, let's just keep it going.
We're going to keep it going. But no, so like in speaking with Dani through all those major transitions that honestly are still kind of happening, you would give me some of the best advice when it came to just thinking different, doing things different. And so what I would love for you to share, just with our Trigger Happy family is once you, of course, got your licensure, for you, what would you say has been, especially when it's assisting and helping, what would you say is the best place for people to start? Because we're all starting something somewhere, whether you're starting on, step 1 or step 50, we're all starting. Mm-hmm. So what would you say is the best step to, we know things are changing, we know things are transforming, we have to change and transform ourselves. Where is the best place to start?
That's a loaded question, It feels like you were just like at the beginning. But
it's a good place.
Right? I want to say the best place to always start is within. I think oftentimes when you are on a quest to figure things out, we always are looking outwardly. Yeah. And I think we've done enough of that as just a society, especially women. I feel like we're kind of brainwashed to like look outside for beauty standards, look outside for, even magazines tell us how we should be in bed or how we should act or how, even pre-social media, magazines did that to us.
Absolutely.
So I just think the first place is just to get still somewhere. Mm-hmm. And if you're not into prayer, if you're not into meditation, breathing is a non-religious, non-spiritual act that we all have to do.
We got to do it or we die.
It's how you live. But there's a better way to do it that can help you tune into yourself. Mm-hmm. So even if you're not as spiritual, you think it's all woo-woo stuff to be like that, I think breathing is the most like common denominator that there is. Okay. And anyone can do it, So breathing exercises are usually where I like to start whenever, even if I feel overwhelmed or even when I'm going, I can feel a transition. Whenever I don't feel like I know what the answers are, I think just getting still for a second and just stopping and just taking some time with yourself, whether you want to journal, whether you want to pray or meditate, whether you want to go for a run, like whatever it is that makes you just kind of bring it in, I think is a good place to start, because you can't really know where you're going if you don't really know where you're at. Like, you know what I mean? Like if you don't really know where you're at mentally, if you don't really know what's happening, if you don't really even know what your starting point is, you're not going to know like what method you need to get to where you're trying to go.
Makes sense.
So always just stop for a second.
Okay. And then once you start the breath work, because again, everyone can do it and everyone has to do it.
Yes.
But we're doing it in a better way. What are the questions that you're asking yourself? What are like 3 prompts or 3 questions that you can ask to kind of get going? Is it where am I? Am I okay with where I am? Like, what are those questions?
That's a little bit more specific to what's happening, right? Like, are you wanting to lose weight? Are you wanting to change jobs? Is it a career change? Is it a relationship change? Is it a, so I think the one question that you can kind of squeeze into every category is who am I? Like, who am I? Or who am I? And I don't like to say who am I trying to be? You're already who you are, right? Yeah. It's just about uncovering that and stepping into that and becoming, I don't think it's like you're trying to find yourself. Like, you're not lost anywhere. Okay. You're just discovering different layers and different sides of yourself, and you're stepping into who your higher self already is, that already exists. You're not on some mission to find yourself. You're on a mission to connect, right? You're reconnecting, because a lot of us are disconnected because of the society we live in, because of our traumas, because of our poor conditioning. It's more of a disconnection than a loss. You know what I mean?
Ooh, that is good.
So I just feel like trying to figure out where the disconnection happens is why you're getting still, right? Because it's like, okay, like, think of yourself like a computer. Like, okay, what got plugged out, right? What wires got crossed? Because you're literally rewiring your brain to like try to do something different. That's the only way you can fix habits, is to rewire. So it's like, okay, what wires got crossed or plugged out or just cut altogether, right? Some of us wires just got cut. They're not there anymore. So I just feel like that, for me, whenever I think about things to ask myself, it's always like, okay, where am I trying to get to? Like, what does that look like to me? And I think that it's like, I don't want to say setting a goal, because I think goals are kind of like basic, right? Yeah. I think it's more about like, okay, what do I look like as this person? How do I talk? How do I sound? If it's a weight loss thing, it's like, okay, how do I feel in my body when I'm 20 pounds lighter? You know, how do I feel at this new job or doing this new career venture? Like, who is that?
Yeah. Who is that? Do I like that person? Yeah. Like, I think that's a huge thing too. Like, do you like who you are in those certain situations, circumstances? Do you like that person? Yeah. And if you don't, again, that's where you said now it's to connect, and I never even thought of it before I started, like, speaking more with you is you are not lost, but so many feel as though they're lost. And it's like, you're not lost. You're just on a journey to discover your higher or highest self, because it's levels. Yeah. Yeah. Like, there are levels to it.
Yeah. And you're going through life, right? We're all going through life. Yeah. And I think sometimes, like, I listened to this guru when he talks about, there are no good people and bad people. I know that sounds like insane, because it sounded insane. I was like, what? There are definitely assholes and bad people. There are narcissists and evil people in the world. But he more so just talks about the fact that people are on different journeys and have different levels of awareness. Okay. So if you would take out the good and the bad from people, it'll actually help you have a lot more compassion, not just for them, but for yourself. Okay. Because sometimes we feel like we're either good or bad, and it brings a lot of shame. It brings a lot of guilt. It brings a lot of suffering unnecessarily. So as opposed to being like, that person is bad and that's why they did that to me, it's kind of like switching the narrative to like, that person is on a journey of self-awareness and they're just not as aware as they need to be, right? That doesn't make them better or worse than me. Doesn't, you know what I mean? Yeah. And I think that has helped to kind of put things into perspective and with myself too, because a lot of times we feel like we're bad people. We don't feel like we're deserving, right? Yeah. Maybe that's why I have an issue with abundance. Maybe, like there are different things that manifest in different ways. And you're just like, okay, but why is this affecting me so much? Yeah. And a lot of the times it's because we don't feel good enough, because we don't feel like we're good people. We don't feel like we did good things. And really it's about our level of awareness and our connection to our higher self, and ultimately the connection to the source, which is the ultimate love, which is whatever God you believe in. Yes, right. So when you're disconnected from that, everything's gonna feel crazy.
Yeah, I can understand that. Now I'm gonna need a little bit more, a little bit more work before I believe that there are no bad people. So we gonna work on that.
I'm still working on that too, but I'm just saying it's a concept of just kind of realizing how we're all one, right? We're a collective. So if you believe that people are good and people are bad, then you believe that you are good and you are bad.
Well, I do. I got some real bad, things that I'm working through, but
but is it bad or is it just in progress, right?
So I can say in progress, but for me, I can't wrap my head around the fact that someone who intentionally takes a life, rapes someone, or hurts a child, I can't wrap my head around the fact that they are not a bad person.
But there's someone,
for me,
right? But there's someone who knows them that would be floored at the fact that they did that thing because they were someone's husband or someone in some aspect of it. They weren't necessarily as bad as another person perceives them to be.
They could be floored all day long.
Not saying that it's an excuse. I'm just saying it's a perspective to think about that. Hey, that was someone's child at some point, right? You know,
and then you grew up and you woke up and chose evil. you woke up and chose evil. Really though, I feel like we all make choices. I don't always make the best choices.
Yeah.
There are some consequences that I am still like, dang, dog, how you...
That's when we talked about, what episode was it from season 1 we were talking about?
Forgiving yourself?
Oh, yeah.
Whew. Yeah.
If you haven't listened to that episode, please go listen to that episode. That episode had me in here boo crying like I wasn't one of the people talking on the podcast. I was like, oh my God, like for real. Like I have a hard time when I think what my thing was is just like knowing better and then still doing stupid shit and realizing that maybe I'm kind of stupid sometimes and realizing that like I could have made a different decision. I knew I should have made a different decision, but I still did the stupid shit. It just makes me so angry.
Woke up and chose stupid. Yeah. It happens to the best of us.
So that's why it's important to realize that people are on their journey of self-awareness.
Yeah.
And we're all just trying to figure this life thing out. And some of us just are not as evolved.
Figure out.
Yeah. Yes. As others.
As others. I love that. I really, really love that. Gosh, I love that. And so before we before we tap into our next, few episodes, because we're going to give this in all types of formats. Sometimes we'll be together. Sometimes we'll be apart. Sometimes we will have guests.
But you will see us. That's the point. That's the change. That's what we wanted to talk to you about.
Yeah.
I know you have so much awesome things going on, and you have your business revamped. You may be moving. Like you just always Alechia is like a chameleon. And she just does 100 million things, and then she's just always ready for like the next thing. Like she's always ready to just jump off the cliff.
I am.
And I don't mean that just figuratively. Like she literally jumps off cliffs in Peru and jumps off cliffs on islands into water. Like she does that sort of shit all the time. So what do you feel like going into season 2? Do you feel like anything changed for you, like through some of our conversations from season 1? Like, how do you feel like Triggered AF has helped you personally?
Oh man. So just being able to identify and call it out, right? Because that's the biggest thing for people. Like if you can't get to the point and place in your life where you can call a spade and be like, okay, this is what it is. Like just identifying like this right here is causing me some major issues. I'm not responding the way that I can be proud of or the way that I would hope to. And honestly, it's not even about proud, not proud. Most of the time, it's just about how is my response helping me get to where I want to be. Like I was having a discussion with some friends of mine who I was, doing business with. And one of the members, they wanted to showcase how one of the other members was wrong or doing something or whatever. And it wasn't necessarily a trigger for me, but it kind of brought something up in me where it made me realize that's who I used to be. I used to have to, no, I'm going to prove to you and show to you that you are wrong and you're going to take this and I want to. And then what made me stop, honestly, was my ex-husband. So, there are blessings, in the mud. Going through the dirt. But for me, it was, you have to take a look at what you want your end result to be. Is bashing them over the head with all the things that they did wrong that you felt they could have done better or should have done better or whatever the case may be, is bashing them on the head going to get you to your desired end result? And Triggered as Fuck for me helped me to identify, what do I want my ultimate goal to be? And healing these triggers and identifying them and calling them out, because that's what we're doing, right? We're calling out the shit that hurts us, that sometimes, that the things that don't feel good. It does not feel good to tell the thousands of people who have now listened to our episodes thank you for that, by the way, that forgiving ourselves of some of the stupid shit that we've done, and then even telling that stupid shit, forgiving ourselves and telling you that's hard.
It is. It is really hard. And, it's one of those things for me, what Triggered has done. It's like you have to walk it like you talk it. And sometimes it sounds really good, right?
Yeah.
Like, I have clients and I'm telling them these things and we're going through these processes and these 90-day programs together. And it's really easy sometimes to be the observer of the person that is on some journey.
Yeah.
But through Triggered, it's like I am saying these things. And a lot of people are hearing me say it. So it's like, I have to make sure. And, I've never, something too, I always want to make sure I check myself too, because I'm still human.
Yeah.
And people on healing journeys are not trying to be perfect people.
No.
None of us should be trying to be perfect. It's about progress, not perfection, which I believe is the name of an episode coming up.
I think so.
And I think sometimes, like, even people who work in any field, like even for you being an entrepreneur, I'm sure sometimes you feel the pressure to maybe have to know every single thing about something before you go the next route or before you do this presentation. And
absolutely,
sometimes that can be very crippling, where if you don't feel like you're not perfect or you're not on a certain level, that you can't do something. Now, I don't believe in amateurs posing as experts and teaching people and taking their money.
Because that's disrespectful.
That's not the same thing. But I do believe that sometimes you are way more qualified than you believe that you are. And if it's coming from a genuine place, I do think that you should go for it, right? So in saying that, I feel like me saying these things and having these awesome conversations, it forces me to be really even more aware.
Yeah.
It makes me be like, I want to be the person that practices what I preach.
Yes.
I want to be the person that when you meet me, when you see me, when people who know me interact with me, that they're like, oh no, this is really who she is.
Yeah.
This is not just for show. This is not just to sound good. It's really, I'm not blowing smoke up your ass, right? Like I'm this person. I want to continue to be better and be this person. And I feel like this podcast and having these conversations really kind of makes that, it kind of pushes my own agenda for myself forward.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Now that I could not agree more.
Yeah.
I could not agree more.
Yeah, it really does that for me. So I'm excited. To see what else we uncover, what other triggers we work through. Like, I know there was an episode we talked about with the back to the forgiving yourself episode. I felt like there was like another layer for me of healing from that episode.
Yes.
So it's just so you all know that we are all healing together. We're not ever talking at you. We're talking to you. We're talking with you.
Yeah.
Because we're all kind of in this together. Like we said, we're all in the same boat.
And it is not sinking.
And it's not sinking, even if it feels like it is. And I just am really grateful for this family that we've built so far.
Yeah.
Excited to kind of expand the family even more.
Yes.
And just really, I'm curious.
Yeah.
So, and you know what? I think that's a very important component of healing is curiosity.
Oof.
Being curious about yourself, being curious about who you are, remembering that there's more to you. There's more to learn. There's more to you. There's more to people.
Yep.
And I think if we kind of keep that childlike curiosity, I think when we lose that is where it gets a little dangerous.
Yeah,
so
it's where we start that disconnection.
Yeah. It's like you lose that, right? They say like when babies are born and even small children, they're still connected to source. So they are innocent and pure and they see everything like roses, and butterflies. And obviously we grow and we don't want to be as naive, and you want to kind of understand the world as it is, not as you want it to be. But I do think keeping just a little bit of that, it's important. Yeah, and it keeps you young, I think too.
Yeah, keeps you young and vibrant, vibrant thing.
Curiosity is important. So I'm curious to see where this goes and who else that hopefully we're helping. I know for me, when we talked about like what made us want to do this, it was just feeling like I really wanted to make sure that the conversations that we've had that have helped me so much didn't just like stop at me. Because I feel like that's such a disservice to all the wonderful women I know and all the wonderful people I know, and all the things that you shared with me or how you motivate me. It's just like I would hate to just have that for myself and not be able to share it with other people.
Because that's selfish, right?
Yeah, that's not cool, right? And caring is, what is it? Sharing is caring.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's what kind of helps the community.
Yeah.
And the collective is like sharing what we have, everyone putting together and pooling together and putting our resources. Alechia has such great business acumen, and she has all these great resources and connections and just things that are really important for someone like me who's more of like a visionary head in the clouds idea person. She's like the executor, right? So,
what are we doing? That's probably why I can't remember nothing, because I'm like, no, I'm in the steps. Y'all in the weeds. Come back to the steps.
My head is in the clouds. She's on the ground doing the work, right? So I really think sometimes, it's important. So it's like a yin and a yang in a sense. But I think sometimes that's maybe why we work so well together, because I ain't trying to do everything. I don't need to be the boss. I don't need to be in charge. I don't have an ego. I don't care who name is on this. I don't care who emails that. I don't give a damn.
Me either.
I don't care. So I think because of that, we've always kind of gotten along, because we're not kind of like, it's just, we just want to get it done. We don't care how it gets done. We don't care who gets recognition. Like, none of that stuff matters.
Not at this stage in the game. Like, there's no ego.
It
like,
just doesn't matter.
I'm not perfect. I'm never going to get it perfect. Is it done?
You want to be in charge of it? You got it, sis. It's all you.
All you. Danielle Leslie, one of my friends who I adore just her transparency, openness, willingness, just all the things. She has a quote that she says, "Done is better than perfect."
Ooh, I love that.
Done is better than perfect. And because so many people are always looking to, how can I be perfect? How can I perfect this? How can I?
And it stops them from even doing anything.
You don't move because you waiting for perfect. 10 years later, it's still not perfect. And it's like,
you done took 90 courses, you got 10 certifications, you got 14 degrees, and you're still like, nah, I don't got it.
I'm not ready yet. You are.
Yeah.
You are ready.
Yeah.
And we want to hear from you for sure. Like I said, DM us, email us, hit us on the main line.
Yeah.
But we want to hear from you. Like, what is one of the triggers, or I guess maybe your biggest trigger that you're going to even work on during this season 2 with us? Because again, we can't call ourselves family if we're not working together. And those triggers, we want to discuss them. So
and ask us, and maybe we can give insight, right? We don't have all the answers, but we will find them.
And bring somebody who does.
We will bring someone who may have the answers, because we're never going to claim to have all the answers.
Absolutely.
But we'll definitely do some work with you and dig up those answers, find those answers, so that you can get any kind of assistance that you need. I think that would be really powerful in a lot of different ways, because not all of us, like you said, like, where do you even start, right? Yeah. Sometimes you go within, and sometimes you've gone within and you realize that there's an issue, and then that's when you can seek out the correct help, right?
Yeah.
Not always the answers, because I believe all the answers are within, but maybe you need a little guidance to that answer.
Yeah.
Maybe you need someone that can provide you with resources or provide you with insight that can guide you, not necessarily provide you with the answers. So absolutely. I think that would be a really powerful component if we could help do that in any way. That's what this is all about. It's not just about us hearing ourselves talk and telling people what to do with their lives. We would really like to invite you in so we can all really deal with our triggers together.
Absolutely. So again, make sure you stay connected. If you are not following us over on the Instagram, is dope over there. Make sure you go. If you have not also signed up for our mailing list, you can get to the website, triggeredafpodcast.com.
And the Instagram is triggeredafpc, at triggeredafpc.
Yep. So we will see you guys, and I guess you'll hear us soon.
And when do we drop our podcast? I don't know if a lot of people know that. Like, when do our podcast episodes drop?
So they drop every Tuesday.
Every Tuesday, right?
I remember.
See, you're already getting better.
Already, I'm working.
Every Tuesday, our podcast drop where podcasts are available. These videos will be available as well, where video podcasting is available, and of course on YouTube. Yep. So every Tuesday, keep an eye out, set an alarm, set an alert. Make sure that you're tuning into our podcast. If you're new to the Triggered AF family, Trigger Happy Fam, please go back and listen to all the episodes from season 1. There's just so much good stuff.
So good.
That I think is personally life-changing. So I would definitely admonish you all to go back and catch up, get to know us a little bit in that way, and then hop on for season 2 so that we can continue this journey together.
Absolutely. See you soon. Welcome to season 2.
Season 2. Season 2. Oh. Thanks so much for listening to this week's episode of Triggered AF. Remember, don't be consumed by your triggers. Confront it and then work to release it. Whether you leave us more triggered than you came or you're feeling like you've been open to a new perspective, our hope is that you've grown. Make sure to share this episode with a friend who's trigger happy and tag us while you're listening. We can't wait to hear from you. Until next week, pull it together, girl.